Well, it's a very good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening to some of you, wherever you are listening to this webinar, either live or on your favorite streaming service. Welcome to the Coaching Cafe. My name is Dr. Natalie Ashdown, and I am joined on the line today. Very excited, so I will be slowing down because I talk too fast when I get excited. But I'm joined on the line today by Ash Woodcock, CEO of RPM Hire. Hello, Ash. Welcome to the line.
Hi, okay to call you Nat.
Yes, please
Hi,
do.
Nat. Yes. Look, I'm very, very excited to be here and sort of share my story, my journey, and particularly around coaching as well, because I just feel I've been incredibly blessed, and have had the help of many, many people, to get to where we are today. And yeah, quickly on the weather in Melbourne, it's middle of May, and the sun is shining. It is a really, really beautiful day out there. So we're very, very lucky. But yeah, looking forward to our chat.
Yeah, thank you. And a very good reminder to everyone on the line that straight after this webinar, if it's lunchtime for you, we should get out and put some sun on our face, get this sun and breathe in a bit of this beautiful weather we're experiencing as well. So thank you, Ash. Before we begin, let me acknowledge the traditional owners, the custodians on the lands on which we're all meeting today or listening on your favourite streaming service, and their continuing connection to the land, waters, and communities of Australia and the lands from all around the world that you're joining us. We've just had everyone telling us where they're joining in from. We pay our respects to them, to elders past, present, and emerging, elders from Indigenous communities from all around the world. So, welcome to the Coaching Cafe. For those of you that haven't picked up our series, we have got a really special series happening at the moment where I get the privilege of introducing CEOs who are actually coaching and bringing coaching into their organizations. This is about a coaching approach to leadership. It's about why is this important and the impact that we're making from a leadership point of view all the way down through the organizations. So if you are new to the Coaching Cafe, we say welcome. We're all about creating a shared learning experience, having thought-provoking conversations, and we offer the free coach education units as well if you're building those up for your portfolios. If you are a regular to the Coaching Cafe, every week I say welcome. It's great to come together. It's great to be able to learn from each other, have these thought-provoking conversations. And as always, you can interact with us and ask questions of Ash or of me in the chat box, and I'll pick those up as we go along. Your CCE will be available for you to take a screenshot at the end of the session. So stay on the line for that. So I will stop sharing and just take the opportunity to center and Ash. I would really love to start with your story as a founder of RPM Hire. So perhaps you can tell us about RPM Hire. I remember when I first started working with RPM. I didn't really know about traffic management and traffic management systems, but then all of a sudden, I started to see the RPM brand on all the bollards, all the way down highways and in the city. And I'm like, oh, there they are, there they are, there they are. So that was really exciting for me. But you have a really inspirational story from where you started to where you are now. So perhaps you'd like to start off by sharing that with us.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, and thank you once again for having me on, and thank you everyone for listening in, especially around the world. That was something I didn't know about. I thought this was maybe local people, so I
Mm.
didn't know it was going to be a global chat. But
Definitely
how
global. Yeah.
exciting!
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was at university in Melbourne studying engineering and commerce, and I was just always had this flair for entrepreneurship, or knew that I wanted my own business one day. And I was working at a local rental business, 5 doors down the road, actually, from where I was renting a house while I was at uni. And so I went and got a job there, and just became really good friends with the owner,
Yeah.
and discussed business, and yeah, would love the concept of hire. It's called rental in the US, but hire and rental. Um, and one day he had an opportunity where someone offered him three electronic road signs to add to his rental fleet. And we'd already been discussing going into business together in a new state, and realized that wasn't the right move. And so he sort of handballed me the opportunity. So I had $30,000 saved up. I bought three existing signs, and I had a year and a half left of university to go. And I thought, it's a great time to try a business when you don't have demands on your money and time. Or another way to put it is you don't have a wife and kids and a mortgage. Uh, and so, from a risk point of view, that time of your life when you're 22 years old, if it all fails, you're actually, great. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. The consequences are quite small. So I bought these three signs, and they had about $15,000 worth of revenue, and a handful of customers that came with it. And my plan was to sell them when I finish university, and then go and get a real job. And thankfully that never happened. I never got that real job. And so it was 15 years ago, almost to the day, that I started RPM Hire. And I think very early on, we set a strategy just to try and be the best. So we knew that I knew through my uni degree, and I got to apply a lot of the lessons I was learning. That meant we weren't going to be the cheapest, and we didn't care about being the biggest. We just wanted to be the best. So I think a clear strategy really has helped us along the years. Fast forward to today, we are a business valued in excess of $100 million. We've got 120 staff, and we're all around Australia. And it's just been an incredible growth journey. I still feel like I'm young. I've got a little less hair than I did when I started it, and a couple of greys. But I'm just so enthused to come to work every day and be surrounded by the people that we have, and yeah, and the journey we're on. And I've almost also feel like it's only the beginning as well. That there's just so much opportunity out there for us to continue.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I
go
was
on.
going to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
because people might not know what it is that we do. So, the little 3D model of one of the signs that we sort of hire out, or we've got a speed sign here. Um, yeah, and then I think you alluded to, we've got a lot of um, concrete and steel barriers that we rent out. Essentially, traffic management equipment. We buy the equipment, we rent it out to our customers, and that's where we make money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I just think your story is so relevant to the so-called young people today as well. Like what happened for you, 15 years ago, and for me a little few more years ago, as well, is so relevant, with all the pressure for our young people to go to uni and get a job, as opposed to pursue something like you did, which was a side hustle, but then becomes your business and what you're enthusiastic about. It's a great message for, I think what's possible.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. And it probably there's probably an underlying philosophy if you're gonna that I really believe in. If you're gonna do something, try and do it well.
Yes.
And for me, I was able to find passion in what I was doing very, very early on.
Yeah.
Um, Perhaps because I grew up quite poor and I could see I was making lots of money. Um, but then really that money was only a function of providing value to clients. And so very quickly, it wasn't about the money at all, but it was about um, feeling valued in this society, or helping people, getting people out of the shit through business, you know,
Yeah.
and that very quickly became my motivator. Um, and then aligning that back to the vision and the strategy of being the best, we were one of the most expensive. But I can honestly say it wasn't about the money. The money was just a validation that we were providing the value, and we were sort of proving in every transaction that people saw us as the best or were happy to pay for it,
Mm.
if that makes sense. And so I would say it actually doesn't matter if you're a business owner, if you're working in a job, how old you are, but there's a great philosophy. And if you're going to do something, do it with purpose and passion, and go all in, and you'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% resonate with everything you're saying there, Ash. And I'm wondering now about your leadership style too, because we're interested in so without stacking multiple questions, because the coaches on the line will be really upset with me, but I know that you're really well read and you've received coaching, you've had great mentors around you, as well. And so I'm wondering, how have you developed as a leader? Um, uh, would would be a question I'd like to ask. And also, where's coaching coming into that for you now? Because I think you're a brilliant coach. From day one, I thought that. So, and I could hear your coaching in your leadership approach. So, what do you
Oh,
think in terms of your leadership journey and where coaching comes into it?
yeah, well, it's definitely been a journey, that's
Mm.
for sure. And that's very kind words of you, Nat. Thank you. I don't know, um, I don't know why you thought that. I can't remember back to me sort of standing out in those interactions. But very early days when you start a business, you are the decision maker for everything.
Mm.
And I quickly realized that there's a limiting capacity to that. And that capacity, and for me, I was quite lucky, it grew fairly big and it was a great business. But at some point, I had to let go and I
Mm.
had to empower other people to make decisions and to own areas. And, and you want people to be successful and to not make mistakes, but you also got to give them the rope that they can too. And so I think that was a really big aha sort of moment for me when I
Mm.
realized that I can't keep making every decision. I love making decisions, and often not making a decision is one of the worst things you can do. So you've still got to create an environment where decisions get made. And I think in really successful companies, decisions get made really quickly. Uh, but then you've got to empower and you've got to trust and you've got to coach people on how to make good decisions.
Mm.
Um, more often than not, we all want to be successful. No one's in business to lose money. And so there was a specific example, I think, when I really stepped away from the day-to-day operations. And it probably took me 6 years, or 6 or 7 years to get to this point.
Mm.
And I remember overhearing two of our managers talking, and we're in a really challenging situation. These signs, that was our main product that we sort of hire out. We owned about 100. We'd cross-hired from other companies an additional 100. So one of our policies was we don't say no to customers.
Yeah.
So we cross-hired 100, and I overheard this conversation between two managers where one of them said, I'm going to have to say no to the customer. I can't, we've cross-eyed 100. I can't find any more.
Yeah.
And then Sophie butted in and said, or the reaction from Sophie was, we're not allowed to say no. Let,
Yes.
let me help you and we'll try the last three or four companies that might have something available. And that moment for me was like a huge, realization that I'd empowered these two managers, especially Sophie, who was the senior one in that situation, to go. Um, the strategy is we never say no,
Mm.
uh, and I don't need to be across it. I just know that she's got it, and try absolutely everything. And so in the first 10 years of business, we only ever said no 6 times to
Wow.
clients,
Yeah.
less than once a year on average. And that is our strategy. And to have that sort of flowed through, yeah, was just an awesome moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're sort of
Yeah.
at 120 staff, and I do very, very little day-to-day things. And I actually tell people what to do very little, almost nothing. My sort of leadership style has evolved to being um, setting the right sort of framework for success. So setting a really clear and compelling vision, I'm a big believer that you've got to have really clear values as well, and we're very values driven. And those two are sort of two of the biggest underlying factors to help people make decisions. And then we back our staff up. When you're thinking about a key decision you've got to make, is it in line with our values? And is it in line with our vision? If so, go for it.
Yeah.
And that really, really helped as well in letting go and empowering other people to make decisions in business.
Yeah, and there's so many questions that I'm hearing, but what I'm also hearing, Ash, is that trust. So that you really have put your trust in them. They put their trust in you in terms of setting that vision and the alignment of their values. And so where do you see that? Where do you see trust coming into this equation as well?
Yeah, it's so important. I think first and foremost, as a leader, you've got to lead with trust,
Mm,
um, and then definitely sort of naturally command it through your leadership style.
mm.
Um, it, I've probably got a great example actually using it with customers. So,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
um, once again, in the first 10 years of business, we only said no 6 times.
Mm,
But we also never got a signature in those first 10 years. And we were often so busy, we'd get a phone call for an order. We'd say yes straight away. That was our policy. We'd go and deliver the equipment, and it might take us 2 weeks to invoice them.
mhm.
And we did all of this without written confirmation from the customer that they were happy with the price and they wanted to go ahead, right? Which sounds crazy, absolutely crazy. Um, but the reality was we also only had $20,000 worth of bad debt over those 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was leading with trust to our customers, and it was repaid through really, really high customer retention
Mm.
and people always paying their bills. Um, Even though we may have been late in sending the invoice and that sort of thing. So you absolutely apply the same thing to staff and people that you're coaching is if you can lead with that trust and be vulnerable,
Mm.
um, and in doing so, you're sort of setting the expectation. This is the expectation is that we have a trusting relationship, and I'm going to lead from the front in that respect.
Yeah, I love it. I love everything you're saying. And I can hear it in you're trusting your people to make decisions. So you're trusting them. And in doing that, it's that coaching principle where you actually, you believe that they've got the answers. You're setting the guardrails, the parameters, but you believe they've got the answers. You believe in them and trust in them that they're on the ground. They know what to do and how to pull it off. And then that's then amplified throughout every interaction with the customers as well.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yep. And I think we all want to be part of a culture or a team um, where people feel empowered. And people can't feel empowered if they don't have that ability to make, decisions.
Yeah.
Um, but you do have to have a framework there so that you're all rowing in the same direction, and you're not sort of all going off in different tangents. But that's the role of the leader to sort of align that. Uh,
Yeah, and I think it's a critical issue that we have now with the whole of AI and the changing workforce and all this kind of thing. And I've seen like in the Australian public sector, in the capability reports, one of the biggest issues that organisations are facing, maybe not in private organisations, but definitely in the public sector, is this leadership at level. People need to be able to make decisions and lead, particularly decision making, lead at level, make decisions and lead at level. And Ash, would you say that, taking the approach that you are taking, that actually allows decision making at level as well? So it's not pushed up to you and beyond?
yeah, absolutely. There's certainly there needs to be maybe like the way I think about it is like a delegation of authority. in your role, you've got the ability to make decisions up to this level, and then you sort of need to escalate it to managers. But I think in as you get a more corporate or bigger as a business, or maybe in the public sector, we put a lot of process and system in place to minimize risk.
Mm,
And there's always a trade-off with that process and system. It might only work 80 or 90% of the time. And if people don't really understand why the process is there and the reason behind it, then they can't adapt
mm,
to it. And so I almost am a little bit anti-process and system because I feel like culture and great people will eat systems and process for breakfast. You know that if you've got really good people that feel empowered, they've got clear direction and guidance, and they know how much rope they've got, uh, they're gonna beat a systemized approach any day of the week, I think.
yeah, I agree with you. I even use that term as well. Eats it for breakfast as well.
Yeah.
And I want to also, so we've talked about your people and we've talked about the customers. I'm also interested because when I worked with RPM, I got the sense of urgency of, urgent situations, the customer demands, we need things now. So, how has a coaching approach helped with the urgent and demanding and leaders under pressure and your team under pressure? How has it helped with that situation, do you think?
Yeah, quite a lot. I think our industry that we work in is very reactive and
Mm,
very, very fast. So
mm,
we can get a phone call where a customer might need 20 signs, so they all need to be towed out one by one
yeah, cool.
in the next 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And um, once again, without that culture of people being able to make decisions quickly, those
Mm,
opportunities go. You miss those opportunities because the customer needs an answer there and then on the phone when they call.
yeah.
It's not acceptable to go, hang on, let me just check. I'll call you back in 2 minutes.
Mm,
Because in those scenarios, that opportunity is gone. And so we've done really, really well by empowering our people to make those decisions and make those calls.
mm,
And we all make mistakes, and that's okay. And it really is. And I think we at RPM we've tried to make it really acceptable to make mistakes, especially when they're in line with the vision and the values. Um,
mm, mm.
And it's those mistakes that are just totally off kilter that, that's when you want to sort of lean in and educate on and why. Um, but yeah, like we sort of almost celebrate people making a decision quickly, even if it didn't turn out to be perfect, because not making a decision is a decision in itself. Um, and I think that certainly in our industry, that can often be the wrong one. So, but you always have to caveat with the parameters and the guidelines, and we don't have someone new into the business making a $10 million purchasing decision, right? That's just never going to happen. Um, but yeah, getting the matching those sort of levels is really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually heard a few of your team on the phone actually and responding to these conversations, and it was around, okay, what do you need? Where is it? Who's involved? How many? So all of that kind of direct, like I would call it coaching, you just call it, it's just what we do. But those really great questions they were asking to get a handle on the situation quickly with the where, the how, the who, the what, what's involved, who do we need to involve, how are we going to make it happen?
Yes.
All of those questions, I think I heard all of that in with speed. It kind of made me feel really good. But it's built into what you do actually in terms of the processes and how you respond to the urgency too, from what I can hear.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. Yep. And I think very easy for a founder and the owner of a business to make those decisions.
Mm,
Much harder, when you're a staff member and maybe the consequences would look very different
yeah,
compared to the consequences for an owner founder. Um, but yeah, it's trying to get people to think like an owner or founder mentality.
yeah,
Um, and empower them as well. Empower them to make decisions. Lead with trust, like I sort of said before. Lead with trust and support them and coach them. Yeah.
yeah. Ash, we're on time. You've given us so many things to reflect about, and I could keep talking to you for ages. I'm just wondering, is there anything else you want to share with us that, yeah, like a don't forget or wisdom? I mean, we've got so much that we can draw out of you, but is there something else you particularly want to leave us with?
Uh, I've got a great coaching story related to running actually.
Right. Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's some great lessons behind it. So a couple of years ago, I was actually going through quite a tough navigating a tough environment at work with significant change, bringing in lots of senior people.
Mm.
And I started engaging a coach and a high performance coach. And one of the things he got me doing was actually focusing back on my health. And so I took up running, and
Right.
I ran a marathon. This is probably 2 years ago, and then or 3 years ago, and I was pretty proud. I did it 3 hours and 44 minutes,
Wow.
and then the same marathon came around a year later. And I thought, all right, I want to try and get under 3.5 hours, which would be quite elite.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd put in the work. I did a little bit of, I did the training. I started the race. I had to hold 5 minute pace. And in the back of my head, I had David Goggins going, your body is a lot stronger than your mind. It's often your mind that gives up
Mm.
first, and you can push through the pain and that sort of thing. Anyway, I I collapsed at 35 kilometers and ended up in an ambulance. I pushed myself too hard. They called it sort of heat stroke, but the reality was I'd gone too hard and was pushing myself too hard. And I was really, really down on myself for not being able to finish. I sort of got 80% of the way through.
Yeah.
And, but what I realized is that, oh, I didn't want that to define me. So I went and got a running coach. And I think it was 4 months later, I ran the Gold Coast Marathon in under 3.5 hours. I
Wow.
achieved that goal. And what I worked out was that there was so much to running that I didn't know about and training. There were like in my training program for that 3 months or 4 months before running the Gold Coast, I was doing seven different types of running.
Yes.
I thought running was running, but I was doing, interval training. There was long runs, zone two training, recovery runs, tempo runs, all this thing. And so, um, the running coach really helped me to unlock what I couldn't see or unlock my blind spots in that sort of running, on how to run a successful marathon.
Yeah.
Um, and then, like everything, you've got to put the work in too.
Mm.
I didn't really know what work was required. And having gone through that, and I'm back in another marathon training block at the moment, it's basically like a recipe that if you want to run this time, you sort of need to do this many kilometers per week in preparation leading up to it, and these types of runs, and these are literally is like a recipe.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but if you haven't been through that process before,
Mm.
or if you haven't baked that cake and you don't know what the recipe is, the likelihood of success is not very good.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, if you can find a coach in any aspect of your life that you want some help on, having someone that's sort of been there, done that,
Mm,
understands what the recipe for success is, but also has that greater level of understanding and helps you to see what you don't see or help
mm,
you with your blind spots, is just amazing. And when I've applied that mentality to, nutrition, to being in the gym using a PT, the running coach, a high performance coach. I've got, like a finance mentor. We've got a board of directors, and I'm seeing all these coaches around me that are helping me with unlock those blind spots, that have been there, done that. They've made the mistakes. They're helping sort of guide. Um, but yeah, it's been phenomenal. It's been really, really great.
such a great story. Thank you. And what I'm hearing also is, that unlocking of the blind spots, which your coach is able to do, unlocks your potential. Like it actually unlocked
Mm.
the potential that you needed to be able to achieve those that awesome goal around your marathons. But it sounds like it's also unlocking the different potential within all the areas of your business as well. So it's such a great story, a great analogy. And it was even what you mentioned to me when we were just having a chat beforehand is when I talked about working within the bigger brand and the bigger organization now and the leverage I get of working with great people and great brains. And you said to me, it unlocks your blind spots as well. And I went, it does. So it's a good thing
Yes.
to think
Yeah.
about, what are my blind spots? How does overcoming my blind spots actually, who can I work with to overcome that so that I can unlock that extra potential as well? So
Yes.
great way to leave us. Thank you. Thanks, Ash. There's so many things I want to continue, but I think we've gotten so much out of our time together, and you've given us so much value. So I'm really grateful. Thank you. And with that, I'll say to everyone, take time to re-listen to the recordings and jot down the notes or the questions that you've heard, Ash, and the inspirations. It's such a great opportunity for us to learn from you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. No, it's been a pleasure. And if anyone does have any specific questions or wants to reach out, then yeah, you can sort of find me on LinkedIn and feel free to send me a message, or through Dr. Natalie Ashdown. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Ash. And everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend if you're on a weekend, or enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. And as we always say, enjoy your